otra vez.
I counted 43 in the second, unless I counted somebody twice.
Hey guys, it's Jim down here at the U.S.-New Mexico border. Another night. Just had quite a large group cross the river, made it through a gate onto the street, and here we are out on the side of the road, waiting for BP processing, and it just doesn't stop, guys. Just keeps on going. I did want to make an announcement. The El Paso sector yesterday did find and confirmed a 6-month-old baby that was brought in by a man from Honduras, and it wasn't his kid. So that was done without the detection of DNA or without doing any fingerprinting. It was actually a suspicion thing. So I want to give kudos to the El Paso sector for catching that. We know there's a lot more of that going on than what's being reported, and part of it is because of the resources. So yeah. But anyway, again, we got people here, most likely here to claim asylum. As I've said in my videos in the past, only 10% of them will actually qualify. Those aren't my numbers. Those are numbers directly from Department of Homeland Security. So if there was actually judges here to have an immediate hearing, half of them would basically be deported immediately. Unfortunately, the kids are what they monetize in this. A lot of kids are being trafficked because of our current laws. The people know that if they have a kid, there's a 98% chance they won't be deported. So one of the services the cartels provide besides the trip here is they provide you with, if you're a man and a woman, you're traveling alone, they will get you a marriage certificate, and then of course they'll rent you a child, sell you a child, and in a lot of cases kids are being kidnapped by the cartel for the purpose of recycling kids. And so it's not uncommon where we see kids and they're making this trip several times from wherever they start to wherever they end up. It's a bad thing. The child one of the issues we're not hearing talked about enough in this crisis is the child trafficking, and it's one of the biggest issues in this crisis. It's an issue that DHS knows exists, Border Patrol knows it exists. The problem is that we're not getting enough help and enough attention brought to that side of this crisis. So it's sad for these children. Yeah, I think our count is somewhere around 60, give or take a few, Teresa. So yeah, they just keep coming in, keep rolling in. And the bottom line is that until we change the laws, until Congress does something, nothing's going to change here, guys. They're coming in faster, they're coming in stronger. You know, they're hitting different parts of this sector that I'm not in, because of the fact that I know from talking to other people that they're busy in other areas. They've had some big groups come in. I was going to show you a video. We had a few drones flying around earlier up on the hill. So, you know, it's Thursday night, so this may not be the last group in this sector. But keep in mind, the area where I show you guys coverage is only like 4 miles, so it's not really that big. And the reason I show you this area is because the bottom line is that we got 2,200 miles of border, guys. We've got Arizona, California, New Mexico, Texas, and you know, it's a lot of border, and this is happening in different scenarios all across the border. So when I'm only showing you a 4-mile border, what's happening, then you know that we have serious problems. This is not manufactured. This is not made up. This is not, just a few people coming in because they're truly, credibly trying to escape something. And the bottom line is that this is what it is, day in and day out. So anyway, there is good news. At least they're talking about it. At least Congress is actually addressing some of the issues. Yeah, I'm sure Anthony's got some stuff going on too. I hadn't talked to him yet, but it's all over El Paso, guys. It's not just here. It's not just there. I could probably be doing 3 or 4 of these videos if there was 4 of me down here to do it. We're taking in people, thousands a day are coming through these areas and these sectors. It's not just 60 here. It's like groups of 200 over there, and then you have a group of 50 walking around here. And they're coming everywhere because, we have very limited border patrol. We have a lot of areas that have wide open fence. Okay, there's nothing stopping them from walking in. And there's not enough border patrol to actually maintain our national security. So if any of these people run and there's nobody else around, then they're probably most likely going to get away. If there's anybody right now up in the mountains that when border patrol's tied up and they're trying to smuggle criminals or drugs, then they're probably going to get away with it, because this is just as much a national security crisis as it is a non-violent invasion, is what I call it. And that's what we're dealing with here, guys. It's the same story night after night after night. We see the same things going on. We see people from different countries. I think it's over 50 different countries now that are coming in. It's just every night. It's the time for talking and acting and putting together packages and legislation that may or may not work. People have a lot of ideas, but the fact of the matter is the time for ideas are over. Okay, I don't know if you guys saw, but West Palm Beach today, Florida, got notified that they were going to start sending, I believe, 500 people a week from this sector to their county as well as Broward County. Well, Florida wasn't ready to hear about that. They said their resources were stretched. The Sheriff's Department did a press conference, and this is what's starting to happen, guys. It's like one of the guys said, if the faucet's running and you put a bucket underneath it, okay, that'll keep the water until the bucket's full, and then you got to put another bucket under it. I've been saying for a long time that no matter where you live, what state you're in, if you don't think that this is going to affect you or this is going to be a problem in your neighborhood, it's coming to your neighborhood, because El Paso is done. They're filled. They're full. There's no room to process people, more or less detain them. So they're being shipped out now. I know there's some that went to Denver, Colorado. I know there's some that are other cities in New Mexico. They're heading further north. And those cities are actually starting to declare a national emergency in their cities, but because you have governors and Congress people that are anti-borders that don't think this is a problem and think it's just, we should rip down the wall and let everybody in, they're not going to acknowledge that it's a crisis. They're not going to acknowledge that it's a national emergency. And so that's the stalemate you're at. You have half of our political party that says, this is not a big deal. Don't worry about the national security. Okay, just let everybody in and we'll deal with it as it comes. And unfortunately, guys, the churches, the Salvation Armies, the Red Crosses, all the charitable organizations that we typically support to take care of our homeless, our veterans, our elderly that are on fixed incomes, where they go to get their food and their meals. Again, I'm all about feeding people, but you can't feed the whole world. We are not capable of feeding the whole world. It's not possible. It's like when your kid sees animals in the yard, you want to take them all in. You want to be, love each and every single one of them, but it's not humanly possible. And for the people out there that are anti-borders, that are, whatever, you guys own this problem, because you're the ones that have been lying to the people in America. You're the ones that have been lying and saying that this isn't a problem. You're the ones that are trying to hide this crisis from America. You're the ones that are guilty of treason, because you're telling every single person out there that all of these people are just here because they're running for their lives, or that they're in bad situations. There's nothing wrong. A lot of people want to better their lives, but the fact of the matter is there's no crisis in Brazil. Okay, not every single area of Honduras is a war zone. Okay, and you know, all I can say is that we've got to do something about this. I know President Trump knows that this is serious. I know Lindsey Graham knows that this is serious. And I know that, you know, there's a lot of people out there who are starting to realize, thanks partially because you guys are sharing these videos. I mean, it's getting, I told you guys the other night, it's getting really tough for me to get these videos. I've got a lot of resistance right now on what I'm doing. And all of us that are down here on the border are under very heavy attack. The left-wing media, the ACLU, the liberal rag magazines, they're out in an army. They're out to destroy Americans, anybody on the border. And they do the same thing with the Border Patrol. They call them racist. They call them, you know, there was an article yesterday that it was the Border Patrol's fault that kids were sleeping outside of the processing center, and that they were in, you know, that they had Kevlar, you know, those aluminum blankets over them. They said it was their fault, okay? No, it was your fault because you guys don't listen to the Border Patrol when they tell you we can't take any more people. We don't have any room for them. There's nowhere to put them, okay? And so they won't call in the National Guard in the civilian role to help the Border Patrol. So instead, the Border Patrol is just supposed to deal with whatever the number of the group is that comes across the border. Now, we're lucky we haven't had 50,000 people come across the border at one time in El Paso, but what's to say it's not going to happen? And when that happens, whose fault is that going to be? Is that going to be the Border Patrol's fault? I mean, you haven't hired any new Border Patrol agents here in 7 years. So, I mean, whose fault is it? I'll tell you whose fault it is. It's the fault of the people that are lying to America about the situation on the border. That's whose fault it is. And we have a governor here in New Mexico, and there's others. There's some in the Republican Party that are responsible for this. But at the end of the day, it's all about money, guys. If you follow the money, if you see where the money's coming from, this is a major invasion of our country and our sovereignty and our way of living and doing things in our culture. You know, I am totally for people who want to come here legally. I'm with President Trump. I'm all for the merit-based immigration. What I'm not for is for stealing kids so that you can cross illegally into a country and claim a fake asylum because you just want to, okay? And I don't want those people for neighbors. I'll go on record as saying that. If you took a kid to get here, then I'm not interested in having you as my neighbor. That's not the American way, okay? There's ways to come in here the right way. There's ways to do things. It's not racist. It has nothing to do with skin color. It has to do with the fact that we have a border like every other country has a border. We have a border patrol whose job is to patrol the border and protect our national security and our national interests. And unfortunately, when they're dealing with groups like this, loading them into vans, taking them and changing diapers and feeding bottles and you know, finding places for them to go, arranging rides, and we're putting illegals before not only Americans but national security, okay, our own security, and we won't declare it a national emergency, we won't declare it a crisis, then what it tells us is it tells us that we have a very serious problem in this country, and it's only going to get worse until it's solved. So I hope that President Trump, and I hope that Lindsey Graham and some of the others who are trying to find a solution to stop this, I hope it doesn't turn into a lot of talk. I hope they come up with a real solution. We need wall, obviously, but we also need to change the laws. It's a twofold fix. You can't just build the wall and stop this. That alone is not going to stop this problem. You have got to change the laws, and especially the laws that involve the monetizing of children, which is what our laws in the United States have done. The minute we demonetize children, in other words, they no longer have value coming into the border for the people trying to rip through our gates and cross here illegally, then we as a country are going to be in a much better place, and we can deal with the real problem of of the immigration crisis. But right now, your Border Patrol has no help. Right now, all they're doing is they're listening to people on TV, the talking heads, go back and forth about what may or may not happen. A lot of rhetoric going on. They don't see any light at the end of this tunnel, okay? All they see is more people coming in, more people to feed, more people with needs, more people to, you know, have to be responsible for at the end of the day, with no room to put them, okay? And even if they are able to pass some laws, guys, there are so many people over here right now on the other side of Mexico waiting for their turn to be coyoted in, okay? That's another part of this problem. They're waiting to be coyoted in. And so those people, I don't, you know, by the time you get all that stuff done and the laws changed and you get stuff to where it makes sense and they can actually enforce it, it could be 6-7 months from now. Or it nothing might not even happen until 2020, and that's assuming that the right people win the election. If the wrong people win the election, we're done. It's over. I'm already thinking of another country to go to, because if they're going to empty out down there and we're going to be run like this and we're not going to value American values, then America's done. Either we stand up as people and fight for America now while we're able to do this, or we just let the country go to hell. I guarantee you, if every one of these people down here had a weapon and they were invading our border, I guarantee you every American would be down here fighting for their country. But because it's silent, because this is a cover-up, because it's being done in the still of night, and it's a secret war that's being waged by a very small group of people who are being labeled as fear-mongers, and, you know, when they're down here taking care of people, and they are humane, they're giving them water, they're making sure they have food, they're doing the best they can to make sure that these kids are taken care of. But ultimately, at the end of the day, guys, these are Border Patrol agents. They are not, they're not the kids' parents, okay? Which is why I'm excited to announce that we're working with a group right now to put together a child relocation program where some of the kids that have been parked will actually be able to, we're going to try to set up a website where their parents down south can report them missing, and then with the help of some volunteer social service workers and some caseworkers and some nurses that we're trying to get on board. And if you fit into that category, social services, nurse, what caseworker, please PM me. I'd like to pass your information on to the people that are working on this project. There's an immigration attorney who's involved in this, and it's one of the things that's not being done. I think these kids would rather go home to their parents, whatever country they came from, than to actually have to sit here and be raised alone in a government daycare because they were a victim of child trafficking. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on as well as a group, and we're going to be partnering with some people doing that. So anyway, I mean, all I'm trying to tell you guys is that this is a bad deal for everybody all the way around, and it's not fear-mongering. I'm showing you the truth. This is what is. This is what's happening. And so I appreciate you guys very much. I say this in every video, and I can't say it enough. Without you guys sharing these videos and getting them to your friends or your neighbors or your groups or your pages or your YouTube channels, your Instagram accounts, then, you know, the bottom line is that we wouldn't be anywhere with this, because they're not going to show it to you. The Border Patrol has made their public statements. They've cried for help. They've been doing it for months. This is not something that Trump is responsible for. This is something that has been allowed to happen, and we have people like Nancy Pelosi and Chucky Boy and the company that are all about this too, because for them, think about this, guys, when we bring in an illegal, we process them, it takes a couple hours. We can only hold them for 20 days as a family unit. So they get let go. They get a processing date that's 5 to 7 years, okay? So in the meantime, in 6 months, we give them a work permit if they decide to work. Some of them are getting instant welfare. But if we give them the work permit, the next step is you got to give them some type of an ID number for taxes, and then you're going to give them a driver's license. And the next step to that is states saying, listen, okay, they're registered, they have addresses, now it's time to vote. And the ultimate thing for them is it's a power grab. You know, I hate to say that, guys, but that's what this is about. This is about power. They don't care what happens to the infrastructure of the country. They don't care what happens to your sovereignty. They don't care what happens to your churches or your anything else. It's absolutely a power grab. At the same time, the cartels are getting richer than they've ever been with the human trafficking, the sex trafficking, you know, all of it, the human smuggling, the drug trafficking. This is a heyday for them. When, you know, think about the times when the Border Patrol actually was able to do what they were hired to do. That was a different time in history, okay? And the cartels still smuggled drug. They still, you know, did what they did. But now it's a free-for-all. It's a carte blanche at the border. And we're losing that border. I mean, everything that the Border Patrol has indicated is that we are closer than ever to losing control of our border. That should, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, that should concern you. These videos should concern you, okay? Everything that we're talking about right now should concern you. It's not a manufactured crisis. And yeah, you're only seeing a few folks right here, right now, on a 2,200 mile border, okay? So when you do the math, 109,000 people last month, that's the size of a small, or actually a medium-sized city, okay? And they're coming in faster and faster and faster and faster. So yeah, we have a few trolls on here tonight, guys. I was hoping maybe that they would see this and maybe get educated, but in any case, they're entitled to their opinions. But I will tell you this, any of you trolls on here that think you're doing America a favor by trolling and agreeing with the narrative that this is good for America, I'll give you about 3 or 4 months, because it's coming to your neighborhood. And it's not about race. It's not about nothing. We have people here that yes, in some instances it's a sad situation that they're in. Yes, some of them have been lied to about what would happen to them when they get here. But this is also our responsibility, because we have allowed this to happen. We've created the laws, and we're not enforcing our own border laws, and we're sure as heck not helping our Border Patrol, and we're sure as heck not defending our border against threats of terrorism and other things that are probably going on as we're dealing with fake, 90% fake asylum claims, while only 10% of these people will actually qualify. So that being said, guys, they're heading off to processing. They're going to get in the vans, and anybody got any questions for me? Oh, by the way, the Guardian Patriots Facebook page is up. It's a it's a closed group. Guardian, got to go to your groups. Guardian Patriots. If you want to join the page, you got to answer like 3 questions. We're trying to keep the page clean so nobody gets kicked off of Facebook. I've also put down a P.O. box that if you want to help us out financially, we're trying to expand our operations. We've got some other things going on. We need some equipment, some new trailers that we're going to be using to get people into other areas of the border, such as Texas and Arizona and potentially California, and also some other things. If you want to help out, there's a P.O. box. We have not added PayPal yet, because obviously we're being attacked a lot of different ways. But I will say this, if everything goes well with the P.O. box, we have a investment firm that's managing the money so that nobody can accuse us of anything individually or as a group. And so that's what you can do to help us. Otherwise, if all you can do is share the videos. That's the most important thing here, guys. You know, I didn't look very well, Don. She may have been. I'm not sure. It's not uncommon to see some of the women coming in almost ready to have their baby. Matter of fact, we've had women go into labor as they're being close to being put into the processing unit. So, you know, a lot of different things, a lot of different groups, a lot of different dynamics to each groups that we're dealing with. But you know, at the end of the day, this is your guys' country. This is your border. This border doesn't belong only to the Democrats. It doesn't only belong to Veronica Escobar. This is America's border right here, and it's America's right, it's America's duty to protect its border and to keep order and you know, if that's racist, then I guess America's racist. I've heard people say that, you know, my American flag shirt is wearing gang colors. That's the new thing I've been hearing lately in rhetoric. And, you know, there's some of us that are still proud to be an American, and it means something to be a citizen. I'm proud of the people that are still waiting in line patiently to get their U.S. citizenship when all these other people are cutting in front of the line. So anyway, guys, this is my excuse me, my night so far. And obviously, yeah, we had drones here earlier. I didn't video them, guys. We had like 3 drones flying over. I know you guys have seen a lot of the drones videos from Anthony. I've done a couple of drone videos, but really we're more into watching for the groups crossing. Sometimes if I think we can put the drones in the video with the group crossing, I'll do that. But you know, our main thing is to show you guys the actual people coming through the fences and the walls and the stuff like that. And but the drones are watching everything, guys. They're watching the border. They're watching, you know, smuggling. They're guiding people in and out. So anyway, for those of you who've never seen a processing van, that's what they look like. Once you're taken off the border, you're put into a processing van and sent to a processing center. So, and that really is about how it works. And then once they're there, they get processed. And right now, the detainment for families is 20 days. So that's all the longer they can hold them. So they have to have all the paperwork and everything done by then, no matter how many thousand come through the sector. So. So, with that being said, guys, I am going to sign off for the night. Well, maybe not for the night, at least for this group that we have here right now. And we're going to get back on patrol. Share these videos, guys. This is the only thing we can do to let people know the truth. And Anthony's exactly right. Oh, hey, check out Oscar too, man. For those of you that don't watch Oscar El Blue, Border Network News, check him out. He's got the Mexico perspective. He's got great information on the caravans and what's happening from the Mexico side. Check out Anthony as well. I was supposed to talk to him today. We didn't connect, but I'm sure he's over there showing you guys something else. So, you know, again, share these videos, share all of them. We all have to work together, guys. This is not about groups. This is about America. This is about our border. Yes, if you go to my page, Robert, two posts down, you'll see a P.O. box that you can send in a check. We're using a management firm because when ACLU attacked us, they said we were racist, and so PayPal and stuff shut us down. And so we're having to do this to protect ourselves while we're under attack and dealing with everything else that we're dealing with. This is what our legal advice told us to do. This is how we protect the organization from the attacks and everything else, and that way we're able to CYA, if you know what I mean. So this was a group, looked like of Hondurans and El Salvadorians, and we had a couple Guatemalans. So anyway, those of you who just joined us, go back to the beginning of the video. This was a group that just crossed a little while ago, and they came in, and anyway, this is our view for the night, guys. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 Border Patrol agents tied up on this little group, so that'll take them off the border for probably an hour. But we'll be out here, we'll be keeping our eye on things and making sure that we do our best to be the eyes and ears and also for you guys. We work for you. This is America working for America, and you guys are working for America by sharing these videos. So I will talk to you guys later. I love you all. Have a good night.